Hey guys, Sandy here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to use that post-it sketch that we created yesterday. I've got my photos, I've got my sketch, I've got my whole scrapbook room, so let's see what I can do. Alright guys, so I went ahead and grabbed some items that I thought would go great for this layout. I started off with this background paper down here, and it is a 49 in market paper. Now I have used some of these papers in the past by cutting them up and using them as elements. However, I don't really want to do that right now with this paper, right? So I flipped through, I was like, this is a paper that would be a great background that I can layer things up on top of it and then just make this layout kind of reminiscent of my planning where I was going to have mixed media and stuff in the background instead of like a bunch of white space. So I trimmed my photos down to 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. I trimmed the paper that I'm using to mat those photos down to 4 by 4. And then I decided to distress the edges. And the reason why I did that was because I had this piece of maroon paper and I thought that that would layer up over top of the background nicely, and it had a torn edge. And I was like, oh, I like the idea of having a torn edge on either side. Because in my sketch, I have these borders down the side, right? And my original thought as I was doing this was to have the torn edge down the side and then layer up some ribbon and twine over top of that to kind of go along the edge, and you'd still see the torn edge on it. However, when I actually tore that maroon paper, I kind of forgot about the fact that I wanted to do the twine and the ribbon, and I did not tear my paper in such a straight line. So spoiler alert, that doesn't happen on this layout, and for the layout, the torn edges are going to be those marked edges in the sketch, and that's just how it goes. Now I'm using the January 2025 stencil of the month from Scrapping Reflections. It is a larger geometric stencil. I love these for backgrounds, and I went ahead and just used this on here because there was a lot of white on the paper. Now, could I have just put my ink straight on top of that paper? You bet your sweet bippy I could have, but I did not. And then I kind of cover up all of the stenciling I just did right now with the spray. And I was like, well, that was kind of pointless. So yeah, that was kind of pointless. I take a sheet of white cardstock and pull a stencil print off of here. It's not a super dark stencil print because I did not go crazy with the spray. I wasn't intending on doing this as a print. My intention was just to spray so that it would have that decoration over top of the background as well. So you can see a little bit of the stenciling, even though I did do the spray over it. So it wasn't a total loss, right? And that is one of the mandala stencils from Scrapping Reflections. I am going to use this torn paper now and place it over here on the left-hand side. And as you can see, my tears are not straight. They are crooked and kind of all over the place, and that's fine. I love the way the layout turned out. It just didn't originally, it didn't turn out the way I originally intended it to. Which is fine. I am going to layer these 3 photos on top of each other, and then I'm going to take them off of the layout and use my grid mat to line them up so that I can have straight photos. I'm using some washi tape just to tape them together. That way I can kind of keep them as one element as I'm placing them on the page. And then I decide after I washi tape them and place them down that it really needs some lift, right? Like there's not enough. So I am literally going to give it lift with some fun foam, and we're using the purple fun foam today. I'm going to cut it down with my scissors. Love me scissors, guys. I have a little bit of a scissor obsession. I will say that when I went to Michael's the other day, I was able to not want to buy a pair of scissors because the coolest pair of scissors they had hanging on their shelf or on their pegboard I already owned, and I was like, nah, I don't need those. I've got those. So now I'm just going to fill the back with fun foam so that the photos are all popped up pretty evenly. I just decided to go ahead with my Nouveau Deluxe here to make sure that it sticks down nice and well once the glue is completely dry. So I'm going to put that down there. This is a little bit higher, I think, than what I had sketched out, but that's okay, right? Like, I like it with the height up here, and this is where I'm like, oh, the twine idea ribbon doesn't really work because I didn't tear this in a straight line. So I decided that I'm still going to use this, and I'm going to add a horizontal line here, right? I'm going to make this happen and place it down underneath of here, and then place my photos on top of it as well. And then I'm like, okay, I like this. And then I still kind of mess with the twine to see if there is a way that I could just use the twine instead of using the ribbon and the twine, but I am not pleased with how that kind of looks either. And I'm like, no, let's not. I'm like, well, what if we do it under here? And I'm like, nope, it is not going to work. So I am using those cacti laser cuts that were in the Rust and Revs collection from 49 in Market, which is weird to me, you guys. It's weird. But it works for this layout because we were in Arizona. So I realized that I did want to journal on this page, and the paper that I chose is not really one that journaling shows up too great on. You know what I'm saying? So I am going to bring in this tan grid paper. I'm going to tear the two sides as well to kind of make everything match what's, already down there on the layout. And I'm loving it. I'm thinking it's turning out great. And now I just need to figure out where I want my embellishments to be. If I'm going to kind of completely follow the sketch here, or if I am going to kind of go a little rogue. I stick pretty close to the sketch. I am going to overlap some of these cacti. I don't know if I end up putting them on every single place that I sketched it out yesterday, but I think it turned out pretty good. And then I don't know if you guys noticed, but there was a line of butterflies in the background of this paper, and I covered it up. So yay. Now I'm just choosing more of the cacti to figure out where I want it to go. On this one, I decided to have one tucked underneath of the photo and one on top of the photo to give it a little bit more dimension. And now I need to come up with some sort of title, I believe. So I've got my words, I'm kind of flipping through them, trying them out, and then I'm like, I need some sort of crafty word, right? Like, because this is Photoplay's kind of headquarters. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm not sure what crafty word I'm going to use yet. So let me grab some labels because labels are fun. And I'm going to add them in on a couple places, one over here on top of the twine, and then one where the two biggest cacti are. And that's because it felt like the cacti were kind of floating. And even though this label doesn't go completely underneath of them, it still feels like to me that it is kind of like grounded on the page now, right? Now I don't have floating cacti. So I figure out what word I'm going to use. I head over to the Pink Fresh, and I've got this word that says create. The only problem is it's pink. And while some of these reds on here do tend to go to the pink side a little bit, this is like a baby pink and not the right color pink. So I am going to grab my alcohol ink. This is the Hobby Lobby alcohol ink in Geranium. It's the same one that I used in my December project. And I am just going to tap my little dauber over top of the pink word, and what that is going to do is turn it red. Now this red was feeling a little bit Christmassy, which makes sense because it's the same color I chose to put in the Christmas project book, right? So I decided to spray a little bit of Distress spray on there over top of it, and then reapply the alcohol ink, and it made a pretty cool red color, I think. Turned out pretty great. I am using my tweezers to hold on to it, and then again my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. That is going to be great because it's going to dry matte and it's going to dry clear. So place that down, and then it kind of nestles right in here. Now my journaling is not finished before I turn off the camera. The journaling isn't finished now, right? Like the layout's just sitting over there chilling, waiting for me to write on it, but that will happen. And then I think I'm going to add one more cactus on here, and this one's going to tuck under the photo as well. I like the mix of the cactus under and on top of the photo. And then that is going to do it for this layout, you guys. There's a little close-up of what the red did on the Create Word, which I'm kind of in love with. All right, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys again real soon for another video.